You're leaning in, your eyes close. For half a second, the whole world shrinks down to this one point of contact. It feels natural. It feels like the most obvious thing in the world. It's not. No other species on Earth does this. Not chimps, not bonobos, not dolphins, not elephants. Nothing in nature presses its mouth against another mouth as a routine act of love. And here's the part that actually breaks people's brains. Kissing isn't even universal among humans. For most of history, huge parts of the world had never heard of it, and some cultures that encountered it thought it was disgusting. So if it's not instinct, and it's not universal, where did kissing actually come from? And why does almost the entire planet do it now? Let's start with the myth everyone believes. Kissing feels so automatic that most people assume it's hardwired, something written into human DNA since the beginning. But anthropologists who actually went looking for kissing across cultures found something strange. In 2015, researcher William Jankowiak and his team reviewed 168 cultures around the world. Romantic, mouth-to-mouth kissing showed up in less than half of them, only 46%. That means for most of human cultural history, more than half of all documented societies had no tradition of romantic kissing at all. Some indigenous groups in Central Africa, parts of the Amazon, and various Pacific Island cultures didn't practice it. When European explorers first brought kissing to some of these regions, the reaction wasn't romance. It was confusion, sometimes outright disgust. Reports from early contact describe some groups reacting to mouth kissing the way you might react to watching someone lick another person's face. Not intimate, just strange, even unhygienic. So kissing isn't some universal human instinct sitting quietly in our genes waiting to activate. It's something closer to a technology, something invented, refined, and spread. Which raises the real question. If we didn't all evolve to kiss, where did the behavior actually start? The leading theory takes us back further than romance, back to feeding. Early hominin mothers, like modern mothers in some remaining hunter-gatherer groups today, sometimes fed infants through pre-mastication. That means chewing food into a soft paste and passing it mouth to mouth into the baby's mouth. Before the invention of soft foods, blenders, or baby formula, this was one of the only ways to get solid nutrition into a child too young to chew for itself. That single act, mouth pressed to mouth, warmth, closeness, a caregiver delivering safety and survival directly into a vulnerable body, may be the biological seed the entire behavior grew from. Some researchers call this the kiss-feeding hypothesis. The idea isn't that ancient humans decided kissing looked nice. It's that the physical act of mouth-to-mouth contact was already deeply wired into the brain as a signal of trust, nourishment, and safety, long before it had anything to do with romance. From there, the second layer comes from something even older than humans: grooming. Primatologists have spent decades watching chimpanzees and bonobos groom each other, picking through fur, removing parasites, touching faces. It looks tedious to us, but it's one of the most important bonding behaviors in the primate world. It lowers stress hormones. It builds trust. It cements social alliances that can mean the difference between life and death in a group. Bonobos, our closest living relatives alongside chimps, take this even further. They're one of the very few non-human species observed engaging in mouth-to-mouth contact, sometimes during grooming, sometimes seemingly just for connection. Researchers studying bonobo behavior have noted this looks almost affectionate, almost like an ancestor's sketch of what we'd later call a kiss. So you've got two old, separate behaviors: mouth contact as feeding and survival, and close physical contact as social bonding and stress relief. At some point in human history, these threads braided together into something new, a gesture that said, "You are safe with me, and I want to be close to you." But there's a third layer, and this one is where it gets almost uncomfortably biological. Kissing might actually be a covert biological test. When two people kiss, they exchange far more than affection. Saliva carries information, chemical, hormonal, even microbial. Researchers studying human pheromone response have found that close facial contact allows people to unconsciously sample another person's scent and taste, which may carry signals related to their immune system. Specifically, genes in a group called the MHC, or Major Histocompatibility Complex, which is linked to immune diversity. Studies on mate attraction have found that people are often more attracted to partners with different MHC profiles than their own, a pattern that would make evolutionary sense. Genetically diverse offspring tend to have stronger, more adaptable immune systems, so a kiss might function, on some level, beneath conscious awareness as biological due diligence. Am I compatible with this person? Not romantically, but immunologically. It sounds almost clinical compared to the way kissing feels in the moment, but that's often how evolution works. It hides cold calculation inside warm emotion. And once the kiss happens, the emotional payoff is enormous. During a kiss, the brain floods with a cocktail of chemicals. Oxytocin rises, the same hormone released during childbirth and breastfeeding, associated with bonding and trust. Dopamine spikes, the reward chemical tied to pleasure and motivation. Cortisol, the stress hormone, actually drops. In a matter of seconds, the brain runs a full bonding and stress relief program, all triggered by a few square centimeters of contact. This is likely why kissing, once it appears in a culture, tends to spread and stick. It isn't just pleasant, it's neurologically reinforcing in a way that feels like it matters, because on some level, it actually does. So how did a behavior that wasn't universal become almost universal today? The honest answer is culture, contact, and time. As trade routes expanded, as empires rose and fell, as explorers, traders, and colonizers moved across continents, romantic kissing spread the way any successful cultural practice spreads, through contact and imitation. Cultures that had it exposed cultures that didn't. Some resisted. Most, over centuries, absorbed it. By the time you reach the modern, hyper-connected world, kissing has become so normalized through film, media, and global culture that it feels less like a regional custom and more like a law of nature. But it never was one. Here's the strange part to sit with. The kiss you shared, the one that felt so instinctive, so obviously right, is actually the end product of an unbelievably long chain of accidents and adaptations. A feeding behavior from starving, vulnerable infants, a stress relief ritual borrowed from ape ancestors picking parasites out of each other's fur, a quiet biological background check running on saliva and scent, and a chemical reward system so powerful that once a group discovers it, they rarely let it go. None of that makes it less romantic. If anything, it makes it stranger and more remarkable. You're not performing some universal human function that's always existed. You're recreating, in a single small gesture, tens of thousands of years of feeding, grooming, chemistry, and trust, compressed into 3 seconds of contact. So the next time you kiss someone, know what's actually happening underneath it. Your ancient ancestors' survival instincts, your closest primate relatives' oldest bonding rituals, your own immune system, quietly asking a question you'll never consciously hear the answer to. All of it, running silently, disguised as something as simple as affection. So a kiss might function, on some level, beneath conscious awareness as biological due diligence. Am I compatible with this person? Not